universities creating a pact or being part of a pact to essentially defend themselves and give themselves a partner to not have to go it alone when it comes to these attacks. And I'll start with you, Dr. Grace.
Well, I think that idea has great merit, but it seems to me that given our federal system where higher education is funded both by the state and the federal government, that it would almost have to take place on a state-by-state basis. So it would be easier to do something like that in New York, which is where I was born and lived most of my life, where we have a Democratic governor and a Democratic control of the state assembly and the state senate, than it would be in a state such as Ohio, which has become a deeply red state. And I would add, by the way, has unfortunately a long history of this kind of vigilantism. You could go back to the 1920s where the Klan used to march in Kent, Ohio, and in the 1930s when you had organizations such as the Black Hand, which was a fascist organization that developed in both Michigan and in Ohio, where there were hundreds and hundreds of people who joined these vigilante groups. So it almost seems to me to have to be done on a state-by-state basis. Harvard, to its great credit, has led the way in terms of standing up to Trump. But I think we are definitely in for a really long haul. And as Chic indicated, it's not only a war on free minds and free education, as our organization, American Historians President David Blight said, but as Chic indicated, it's really a war declared on all of knowledge. And to underscore that point, there's the National Endowment for the Humanities, which Trump has sought to defund and sponsored, or helped sponsor, I should say, a social studies conference that Chic and her late brother Alan, who was my best friend, and I attended in Texas before COVID. And now we have, the chair, the acting chair of the NEH, wanting to have a garden of heroes in the Black Hills of the Dakotas, which is sacred to the Sioux people, and have people like Anton Scalia and John Wayne and Douglas MacArthur, celebrated there with bronze or stone figures, instead of funding things like National History Day that seeks to promote the field of knowledge of our country's past in middle schools and in high schools. So we are. I don't think ultimately what the Trump administration is doing will have lasting success. But I think we're in for a very, very rocky period in American history, as we have been in other periods of our nation's past. Absolutely.
Dr. Canfora, what are your thoughts in that space?
Well, if we've learned anything from Kent State in 1970 and also Kent State in 77 when we occupied the Hill, the May 4th shooting site, for 62 days with students joining us from all across the country, there is strength in numbers. And I'm really happy to say that our students at Kent State, those who are leading the May 4th task force that was formed in 1975, are working with Emerson College students this summer to build the kind of coalition of college students that the University administration should also be building to prepare for the attacks that we are likely to see, not just throughout the summer, but also moving into the fall. We cannot continue to see what's happening in isolation and only fight our own small battles. We have to look at what's happening to our democracy as a whole. What's happening at Harvard, what's happening at Columbia, what's happening at the border on certain streets in America is not just happening to others. If we let the federal government implement policies that already is allowing secret, masked people, unidentified, to pick people up on campus, on their way to work, on their way to school, fly them off to dangerous prisons known for their cruelty, then we have already opened the door for the KGB, the SS, and brown shirts that have their place only in fascist dictatorships, not in our democracy. And if we let a racist xenophobe dictate what we can teach and learn on our college campuses, or force our Q-12 schools to post the commandments, the commandments of one religion in every classroom, when most of those leaders, including Trump, have broken half of those commandments, then we will soon be told in our democracy how and where we can worship, what we can do every day. So if we tolerate his attacks on free elections, his continued lies about the election he lost, his current attempts to take over the Federal Election Commission, we're soon going to have no right to vote him out and to vote out those lackeys that support him in the midterm elections. We must coalesce now around those issues that do unite us, and that's happening best on college campuses, from students to our administrations. If we don't find the common ground needed to unite us, instead of letting this megalomaniac divide and conquer us, our democracy is doomed in America, and we the people, will only have ourselves to blame.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Point of order, though.
Go ahead, Kurt.
Order, real quick. Donald Trump broke all 10 commandments, not half.
Well, we're not in the business of correcting our professors, but he's broken quite a few of them. I really appreciate, Kurt, you helping put this together. I really appreciate Dr. Canfora for being with us, and Dr. Grace as well. It's an honor to have the three of you guys with us on the show today. And we will do it again. I think it would be great to look at something that we could do maybe before we get to the fall session in terms of the fall semester with school, because we know that a lot will probably have taken place between now and then. So, but thank you to the three of you for being with us, and I really appreciate you taking the time out.
One last thing, Richard, one last thing real quick, if we can. Is there any way that people can reach out to the two of you as far as like social media or anything like that?
Well, I'm Chic Canfora, ChicCanfora on Facebook, and I use that as a column to talk about the things that are happening in our lives. But a very important email address for anybody that wants to join the Student Coalition, the work that's being done this summer, they can just email May4taskforce1975@gmail.com. And Sophia will let you know what the Emerson students and Kent State students are doing to mobilize this summer and how they're going to be preparing for a very, very active fall.
And Dr. Grace, how can folks find you?
Well, I do certainly a lot less on social media than do Kurt and Chic Canfora. I'm actually working on a manuscript on the Civil War, which is my main area. So that is really taking most of my time these days.
Absolutely. Well, thank you to the three of you for being with us.
I will add very quickly that one of the commonalities of Chic, Kurt, and I is that all three of us have been deeply involved in electoral politics over the last 50 years. And the first organization that I participated in at Kent State was, like Kurt, the Young Democrats, when I worked for the election of Hubert Humphrey when he ran against Richard Nixon in 1968. And I've been active in electoral politics ever since.
Well, and those kinds of uniting organizations and groups have allowed us to sustain the conversation and be able to, as I oftentimes say, you guys pass the baton. But you guys are living proof of the baton can get passed, but you're still in the race. So thank you so much for being with us this morning. I'm going to bid you guys
glad to be here.
Thank you again, Dr. Grace, Dr. Canfora, and Kurt Hurner for being on Choose Use this morning. You guys have a great rest of the day. Bye now.
Thank you, Richard.
Bye now.
With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Call us to get your Care Watch right now.
800-741-5819. 800-741-5819. 800-741-5819. That's 800-741-5819.
WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, where facts matter.
You're listening to Chew's View with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey, Progressives, welcome back to the show. Great to have part two of the segment of the interview that did with Dr. Canfora and Dr. Grace and with our good friend Kurt Hurner. What they spoke about, both in the first segment and second segment that we played, really comes back to something that I've been talking about for a long time, but certainly specifically this week, activism and not being shut down. College campuses they have been for such a long time, a safe haven, a place for folks to be, to learn, first and foremost, and to connect with people, to grow up a little bit, getting out of the home and going off to school. And they have been a part of our society for centuries. And what Dr. Canfora really leaned in hard on, probably more than Dr. Grace, is how PO'd she is that the administration on a federal level is tampering with that, taking away monies from universities, Harvard being at the front of the line, unfortunately. So follow both of them by all means. And the work that they do is phenomenal. And Dr. Canfora she's right in the mix. That's why I said about they passed the baton, but they're still in the race, because they really are. They're still leading in the conversation. And they both have said to me that the tragedy that took place 55 years ago at Kent State was, the seminal moment in their lives. But they've been able to build on and from that to help remind students the importance of being active and having their voice on college campuses and other places. And we have a social responsibility to continue with that tradition. I think it's a wonderful tradition. It's something that if you know someone that went to an HBCU, you will find that is a big part of the activities on a HBCU campus is conversations around activism. Many of our specific African-American leaders went to an HBCU where they cut their teeth in protesting. And many of the folks that you hear names of over the years and the decades have been graduates of an HBCU that were at the tip of the spear of some of the biggest protests and pushbacks and galvanizations that this nation has ever seen. So when Drs. Canfora and Drs. Grace talk about the importance of it today, they mean it. And of course, they both attended PWIs, but the fact still remains that they understand the importance of that. And I think we all should embrace it to the best of our abilities. And that's why I encourage everybody to call your congressional leaders so often, because there's so many things that we have to talk about. One of them is keeping the president and his band of merry idiots away from college campuses. And the hypocrisy, I saw this a couple days ago on social media, the hypocrisy of all of this garbage around, and this is one of the things I'm going to slightly pivot to when it comes to Heartland Signal, is that members of the administration that did go to college, some of them went to Ivy League schools. There's a few that went to Harvard. And so what's crazy about it, and it's this hypocritical moment, hypocrisy is kind of how we let off the week, is that, for what purpose is taking down the Department of Education? There's no real value to that as it relates to the strengthening of our country. As I've said before, and a strong believer in this, our educational systems and making sure that our educational systems on all levels are as strong and as steely as possible. That's so important to our national defense. And in some ways, one could argue that it's as important as the actual defense department as it relates to expenditure, as it relates to protection, as it relates to education, growth and development. We should be spending as much money. This is my opinion, so I get to have the opinion. It's based on how I'd like to see our country be better, or it be better in a particular area. We should be spending, for every dollar we spend on our defense, we should be spending, and I'm not talking about the military, the soldiers, and all need to be paid more. So let me come back to that. I've said it before. I don't mean to bounce around. I'll get back to my point. Pay them more. Stop debating on that. Okay? Now, when it comes to dollars for education and dollars for the Defense Department, we should be spending as much money on education as we're spending on defense. I'll say it again a week from now, 10 weeks from now. We should. Because if we're going to make our country stronger and better and a great again country, then doggone it, let's spend more money on making sure that our citizens are educated and smart. And then again, not just colleges, but all forms of education, all forms of skill set development. But it's hard as hell to do that, Henry, when you have, and this is something that you guys will find over at our Heartland Signal digital platform. Education Secretary Linda McMahon fails to answer whether she knows who Ruby Ridges is or if she knows about the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. Failed to answer. So the problem is, I look at this as a lack of planning and staffing issue. If I had no clue about education, but I know I'm going to be on the hot seat quite a bit now because there's some Democrats out there that don't like me, I would say to my staff, listen, what are the top 10 things that folks are going to be talking about right now? What are some of the things that are big concerns? Maybe the top 20. I need a list. Give me bullet points. Give me 3 sentences so I can at least be prepared and I don't look like a complete idiot. Small idiot, but not complete. Do you know what I mean? I mean, not even be prepared, which it sounds like when you see this clip, you'll see what I'm talking about. Not even prepared. So, and each of these are things that circle around education and independence, particularly when it comes to Ruby Ridges. But hey, and the list goes on. Another Linda McMahon, she's becoming kind of like a cartoon character. She refused to answer U.S. Representative Summer Lee's, a Democrat from Pennsylvania's question on whether schools should teach that President Biden won the 2020 election. I mean, just answer the question. If you say no, then, at least stand on some business. Say, no, I don't think we should talk about that. But that's the problem, is that they are, what's happening is the talking points that they've been given don't match up with the questions that they're getting asked. So they're not prepared. It's hilarious. I'm holding on to talk about the craziness that's gone on in the last 24 hours with regard to, I talked a little bit about this yesterday with Operation Spiderweb, and Hegseth breaking the law, and the MAGA Civil War. We'll get to that when my two guests are with us in the 7 o'clock hour. But for now, I want to talk more about this educational thing, because Dr. Canfora and Grace made it clear. College campuses should be a safe haven for protesting, for activity and activism. And it is important that we get behind a stronger Department of Education, up and down, left and right, because that to me is one of the basic parts of our federal budget and planning that should be well funded, because we are being outpaced by so many other countries when it comes to what we dedicate to education. We just are. But the American individualism and rugged, manifest destinyers are too arrogant to recognize that other countries are outpacing us when it comes to education. There's a reason. Let me just put some really quick text to this. There's some reason. There is a reason, and there are reasons, plural, that there are so many folks that are vying for positions with tech companies in America that are not from America. because they come prepared. They're ready. So when we talk about, making America great again or keeping immigrants out and all these other, just crazy comments from Trump and his administration, his minions, what about making sure that our citizens are better prepared to vie and bid and apply in those careers? I mean, to me, it would seem fairly simple thing to do. Load up our educational system. But we have a president that likes the quote unquote uneducated. I got nothing against that. And let me be clear, because this is where people go sideways on this conversation about the educated elite. No, I just don't want people running around pretending to be smart and with it and knowing everything, but not because they haven't been trained in certain areas. And so then you have people who are out there getting hurt and injured on jobs because they weren't properly trained. Or you have people who are in positions that don't know what the hell they're doing, and other people get hurt or injured because they don't know what they're doing, meaning the leadership, quote. And that's what we have in our administration right now. We have people who are being harmed because we've got stupid A people in positions that don't know what the hell they're doing. So let's spend more time and money on making sure that our society is better educated and better equipped to compete. Because we ain't competing right now, y'all. All we're doing is being the big bully in the room. We're not competing. The numbers that came out yesterday, which would get us in the weeds so quickly, I'm not going to do it, are on the trade deficit. You got to read between. You got to do more than just read the headlines of this. That the trade deficit has reduced, but it doesn't mean it's going to impact everybody's day-to-day expenses. So don't get caught up in the headline of, because that's what they want you to think. Oh, the tariff, the tariffs that Trump has placed on various countries and various goods is the reason that the trade deficit has adjusted. No, that's not really the fact of why and how it's happened. But anyhow, guys, all right. I'm frustrated that we've got so many stupid people that are not qualified to be running our federal government, and how that sort of trickles down to our state levels and what our state officials have to do. I'm frustrated behind that. And we got these dumb A people in these positions, guys. Ugh. All right. Today, live, local, and progressive, Joan Esposito will be joined by Dr. Kevin King, radiation oncologist at City of Hope Cancer Center here in Chicago, Jennifer Schulze, and Brian Reams, former CBS Los Angeles Deputy Bureau Chief, with a conversation about the media. You're going to want to tune into that. Live, local, and progressive, weekdays 2 to 5 here on WCPT, Chicago's progressive talk for 20 years. Tonight on Driving It Home, Patty Vasquez will be talking with State Senator Laura Fine. Hey, Laura. Laura and I have been social mediaing back and forth. A Democrat now running for Congress, and film critic Michael Crowley. Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays 5 to 7 p.m. Central here on WCPT, Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Saturday on The Big Picture, Edwin Eisendrath guests are Joe Walsh, former Illinois congressman, former Republican who finally made the big splash. I'm now a Democrat. Well, my statement to him is, what took you so long? But we know why. Mike Quigley, Democrat from Illinois. Nancy McLean, professor of history and public policy at Drake University. Dean Baker, co-founder and senior economist, Center for Economic and Policy Research. The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath. Saturdays, 1 to 4 p.m. Central here on WCPT, Chicago's Progressive Talk. 20 years, y'all. 20 years in a month, literally. And on Monday's show, Sarah Jones, managing editor and co-publisher of Politicus USA, will be with us. Rich Logis and his guest James Hicks, leaving MAGA. That's what's happening, guys. We are going to take we'll take an early break. Can we do that, Henry? We'll take an early break and we'll push it to the top of the hour. That way we can get our guests into the studio, get them situated, and we will be off to the races in the 7 o'clock hour. The number, of course, is 773-763-9278. This is Choose Views on the Credo mobile phone and text line, and we'll be right back.
WCPT 20th Anniversary Replay 2023.
Welcome to the WCPT AM 820 Mayoral Forum. We are so glad all the candidates are here. Commissioner Johnson, you clearly have the support of the Chicago Teachers Union, endorsements, money from them. How are you going to balance those ties with the obligation to oversee CPS as mayor?
Well, again, no one has better incentive on this stage for the city of Chicago to work, particularly its public schools, than someone who was actually sending their children to the Chicago public schools. I think I'll be the first mayor in recent history to actually have children in public schools. Here's the second thing, elected representative school board. We fought for it. We have it. We're going to be negotiating not just with an elected representative school board, the city council, the state of Illinois, the Congress. So it's going to take all of us because the politics of old has left us behind.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
The Sports Cubicle. We have a two-time national champion, head coach of the North Central Football Cardinals. It's Brad Spencer joining the Sports Cubicle today.
How much do you have to live in the world of the transfer portal?
If you look at what's going on, so much of college football at the higher levels particularly has become transactional, and we want to stay transformational. It's always been about being an all-American father, husband, and teammate.
The Sports Cubicle, Sunday nights, 9 p.m. on WCPT.
For over 40 years, PFLAG has provided support, resources, and unconditional love to the LGBTQ plus community, their families, and allies. And they can be there for you, too. PFLAG provides peer-to-peer support and educates people on the issues important to the community. They make sure families, allies, and the LGBTQ plus community have a voice, are valued by society, and take pride in themselves. Join the Chicago Metro PFLAG chapter or find your local chapter today by visiting pflag.org. That's pflag.org.
Dive deeper into the heart of the news and stories at WCPT 820 and across the Midwest by checking out our website, heartlandsignal.com.
It's the coverage I can count on every time.
For the latest news updates, in-depth analysis, compelling stories, comprehensive election coverage, live streams, and thought-provoking opinions, head to heartlandsignal.com.
When I need to know, they're there.
They keep me informed and updated wherever I am.
Stay informed with WCPT 820, your go-to source for where facts matter.
Stephanie Miller.
It's another true Stephanie Miller Show story, Chris Lavoie. Yeah, from with Jane in St. Charles, Illinois. It's real. Stephanie Miller fans are everywhere. We're meeting in parking lots. It happened just yesterday. I got to my car after leaving the grocery store. There was a woman loading her groceries in the car. She had a radio on to WCPT 820 Progressive Radio. I couldn't resist. They said, I think we would qualify to say that we listen to the Stephanie Miller Show. We both laughed and said, yes, we would. I love it.
Stephanie Miller, weekday mornings, 8 to 11 on WCPT 820.
If you want your children to read, remember, the special ingredient is you. Spend time with your family, building bonds through reading. Those stories, those memories will last forever.
This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
With Amazon Business, smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. The feud between Elon Musk and President Trump continues to escalate. Trump has threatened to cut Musk's SpaceX and Starlink contracts, and Musk has claimed the Trump administration has not released all the records related to sex abuser Jeffrey Epstein because Trump is mentioned in them. The blow-up between the president and the world's richest man played out on their respective social media platforms after Trump was asked during a White House meeting with Germany's new leader about Musk's criticism of his spending bill. Organizers for the LA Games don't think Trump's newest travel ban will affect the Olympics. Correspondent Gethin Coolbaugh reports.
Planning and preparation for the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics has made significant progress, and organizers say they're confident that President Donald Trump's latest travel ban won't prevent Games participants from entering the U.S. LA 28 Chairman Casey Wasserman says the federal government already recognizes that the Olympics require special consideration. 16 International Olympic Committee members wrapped up a 3-day visit to Los Angeles on Thursday, having inspected multiple venue locations in their second visit since November. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
People across the war-ravaged Gaza Strip marked the start of one of Islam's most important holidays with prayers outside destroyed mosques and homes. To mark Eid al-Adha, Arabic for the Festival of Sacrifice, Muslims traditionally slaughter a sheep or cow and give away part of the meat to the poor as an act of charity. Families have a big meal with sweets and children get gifts of new clothes. But no fresh meat has entered Gaza for 3 months, and the territory's sheep, cattle, and goats are dead after 20 months of Israeli bombardment and ground offensives. World shares are mixed ahead of Friday's update on the U.S. job market. The report will offer insights into the economy. U.S. futures also edged higher, and oil prices fell Friday. This is AP News. AP correspondent Charles de Ledesma reports a private lunar lander from Japan crashed while attempting a touchdown Friday, the latest casualty in the commercial rush to the moon.
The Tokyo-based company iSpace has declared the mission a failure several hours after communication was lost with the lander. Communication ceased less than 2 minutes before the spacecraft's scheduled landing on the moon with a mini rover. Until then, the descent from lunar orbit seemed to be going well. 2 years ago, the company's first moonshot ended in a crash landing, giving rise to the name Resilience for its successor lander. Resilience was carrying a rover with a shovel to gather lunar dirt, as well as a Swedish artist's toy-sized red house for placement on the moon's dusty surface. Company officials say it's too soon to know whether the same problem doomed both missions. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
And I'm Marcela Sanchez, AP News. Have a good morning.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. A few spotty areas of haze early today, otherwise partial sunshine develops, a high in the mid-70s. Winds out of the northeast around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then for tonight, partly cloudy skies develop, a low near 57. By Saturday, a chance for showers and thunderstorms here late. Partial sunshine develops, high of 78 degrees. And on Sunday, chance for showers and storms, a high of 78. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently, it's 62.
Now at Menards, get everything you need for your garden project. Schultz Plant Food is specially formulated to provide brighter, fuller, and healthier blooming for your flowers. It's easy to use, requires no mixing, and contains micronutrients that encourage rapid blooming while providing rich color and strong root development. Visit our garden center today. And don't forget to check out our flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
This is WCPT 820. Where facts matter.
Welcome back to Chew's Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820 AM, where facts matter. Take it away, Richard.
Hey, progressives, welcome back to the show. 773-763-9278 is the Credo mobile phone and text line. Make sure you make your way over to credomobile.com because they believe in keeping the planet safe and keeping people safe. They have a great, great site there, so check them out. Friday. Not Joe Friday, but Richard Chew. The next hour is going to be a lot of laughs, and it's going to be silly, but we're going to get some stuff done in the process. Trust me on that. I do want to acknowledge once again, we won't have Mayor Brandon Johnson on with us at 7:30 due to the fact that a Chicago police officer lost their life overnight in a shooting, and the mayor and the city are obviously, certainly the police department, are navigating through that as best possible. So, as I said at the beginning of the show, please send out good vibe and good energy to that family, to the police department and the city in general, as a way of us being connected rather than pointing fingers during a tragedy like this. Anytime somebody dies, is killed, it's awful, and particularly when one of our civil servants loses their life in the process of taking care of us and keeping us as safe as possible. So y'all do the right thing today. Don't put out any bad vibe. Just put out good vibe. That's all I ask. But there'll be some good vibe this next 50 plus minutes, I think, Henry, because with us in studio are two of my very, very good friends and colleagues, and wearing the coolest of T-shirts this morning.
Yep.
And that would be our good friends, Karen Byrne from TruBlu Politics podcast, and Natalie Ziemba, city councilwoman from the great city up north of Woodstock, Illinois. Good morning, ladies. Welcome to the show.
Hello, hello.
Thanks for having us.
Last time we were in studio together, it was Valentine's Day, and there was love all around. Well,
really
look at us again.
Yes. I know. It's pride.
Love all around. Pride.
They're wearing Natalie's wearing a pride T-shirt,
yes.
And she very, very proudly said, "See my shirt? See my T-shirt?" And then Karen has on, I can't read it now without.
Yep.
The dead is.
No, is he dead yet?
Oh, is he dead yet? Who is that supposed to be? You?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay. Well, Karen has red hair, but she's in this. She's got blue hair with the red ribbon on.
Yeah, but
so
the important is the message.
Is he dead
The
yet?
question, is he dead yet?
And so y'all can make that.
We're not naming names.
Right. There we go. We're not naming names.
No, just a general
Just a question, is he dead yet?
Well, to that end, we'll just dive into the deep end of the pool. I know we'll meander through a few things today.
Chop it up, as you say.
And chop it up. But I've got to ask you guys this question, and I intentionally did not talk about this in the first hour, but the little cat fight that's going on, or puppy fight that's going on. I don't want to be, I don't want to cross any gender lines with the two of you guys, but dang.
It is what it is.
I am getting the popcorn ready and just
Lonsky and Orange Menace are having a little kerfuffle.
A little bit.
Isn't this entertaining?
Well,
but it's a distraction as well. Let's not forget, keep your eye very focused. Let's not get ourselves, you can take 5 minutes and bask in it because it is very entertaining. I'm loving just the out in the open. Everything's on social media. He's doing stuff on Twitter. The other one's on True Social. And they are just back and forth having this petty argument. It's so funny to watch. And then I'm thinking, wait a minute. No. Stay focused. There is a big bill that we're still watching all of this go on in the House and Senate. Be very focused on No King's Day coming up on the 14th.
Yep.
Stay focused on things like pride. Stay focused on important issues. Right now, it is entertaining. We can have our moment. I thought Taco was hysterical. I'm still
funny.
laughing about that.
Gets under his skin.
Yes, it does.
Keep it
but
going.
Let's stay focused on important issues.
Because here's the thing, and Karen, you can comment on this. Natalie, you're right. We have to stay focused. And because people's lives have been greatly affected by these two knuckleheads over the last 130 or 40 days now. Yeah. So, yes, we have to remain focused on the things that they have created, they've caused, they've leaned into that have affected people's lives and are affecting people's lives right now.
One
Karen.
positive effect of this whole thing, Elon Musk kind of chiming in and going after the Republicans, is that Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't even look at the bill. It's bringing out a lot of these Republicans saying that, well, we didn't even read the bill. Well, so really, isn't that literally your job, is to know what legislation you're passing? So it really, I think that this is laying them, there's no denying it. It is laying it bare for everybody to see.
There's nowhere to hide.
There's nowhere for them to hide.
Absolutely.
So that, if that is a very big positive, but to Natalie's point, staying focused, not being distracted, because this is fun and we can giggle about it or whatever. But almost simultaneously, Peter Thiel, and we talked about this, individual. I mean, he's a big, fanboy of Curtis Yarvin.
Yep.
He and J.D. Vance are good buddies. Peter Thiel bought the Senate seat for him and then helped him get the VP pick.
Yep.
Right? So we have to be very clear because Donald Trump is tapping Peter Thiel and his company, Palantir,
Yep.
to get a huge, massive database together that is going to have all of our information.
You guys don't
unfettered
know
access.
Who, by now you should, but if you don't, your homework assignment for the weekend, and when you have this, when you are doing this research, if you don't know, and even if you do know and you want to know the most recent bit of horror, you need to Google the name Peter Thiel, Thiel, and the company Palantir, Palantir. Google and go down the rabbit hole. And the reason I say go down the rabbit hole, which I normally wouldn't, is because you need to see the the dots of where that name leads you. Because some of the names that we may throw out, you may not necessarily recognize. So the homework assignment for you guys this weekend, anywhere in the country, is that you must Google his name. And you must look at the connective tissues of him, Vivek Ramaswamy, and many others will pop up and you'll go, I didn't realize that. So this is why, we want to have some. The reason that we have to have fun with this is, and I say this in a progressive way about how we go forward. So we want to have fun with this because oftentimes, when there is something that happens to a Republican, we look at it and go, yeah, see, we told you, and then we just move on like
we do.
Yes.
Like,
all right, great, now next.
Let's get to the issues.
Which we want to do. And we can walk and chew gum on this. But this is why, to me, we have to have some fun with this. And it's partly because of what Karen just said about Marjorie Taylor Greene and other Republicans. Not only do they not know what's necessarily in the bill, because it's been written by Project 2025 and Heritage Foundation, that's why, and we're going to play this one clip that will tie this together. The Russell Volt clip, we'll get to that. But the point I'm making about why we want to have some fun with this is it exposes how Republicans do not govern well. They bully. And I said this earlier. They don't govern well. They don't lead. They bully. And I even will go as far as saying, even if we go back to the some of the old standard bearers that were the reach across the aisle Republicans, they didn't necessarily govern well. They bullied. And I'm talking about some of the names that a lot of people want to say, well, but back in those days, the two parties got along and they worked it out. They chopped it up. They worked it out. No, this is also to expose, and we have some fun with this, how absolutely fun it is to watch how MAGA's going to flail. I saw something that said they aren't going to give a darn, but how MAGA will flail over the fact that their two boys have been outed. Or that they're having a little pity party, a little fight, a little whatever, and how that will be something that we can sort of laugh at. Well, we can laugh at it, but at the same time, I think it needs to be pointed out that you guys elected a fool who picked another fool to mess with the stuff that you need to live your lives. And now you see that they might be coming at odds with one another. So yeah, we get to laugh at that a little bit because you were told that this is possible and it could happen.
Yes.
And there would come a day when these two big egos weren't going to fit in the same, small little camper. And here we are.
Self-destruction and implosion from the inside, that's what's going to take down MAGA. It's not going to be tons of things coming at them from the outside. We've tried that mechanism and it's proven ineffective. Partly because they just have so much money, right? They have a deep, deep war chest. These are billionaires that have so much money and it goes really deep. However, implosion from the inside, that's what's going to...
Because the first thing they're going to do is they're going to do their best to protect their money.
Absolutely.
So Elon is probably looking at this and saying, okay, I could go off to an island and give the middle finger to everybody and not even worry about this garbage anymore. Because I think that the only risk that he has, I shouldn't say the only, but one of the things that he's probably thinking about is, so if I spent $250+ million to get this guy elected, I've got data but he's got data also. And he has the power of the federal government to all the things that I got sort of a free pass on. He has the ability to turn that back on.
And expose it all.
And expose that, yeah, I was doing this, and yeah, I was doing that. And then basically hands off and say, that was Elon, that's what he did. I had nothing to do with it, because Trump is very good at that. Well, I don't know who that person was. I didn't really follow it. But
he was a coffee boy.
Yeah, he was a coffee boy. The defense that Trump will have, or I should say the guard that he'll have, is the do-nothing Republicans that won't go, well, then you should be impeached for that, because you knew you were that close to it. You should have known. But this is the other part, to Karen's point, guys. Follow the bouncing ball, because it's bouncing. This is where J.D. Vance is a dangerous character, because of the money that's behind him from the people that want this technocracy to be taking over our federal government. So there's a lot going on here, and we can laugh about it and have fun with it, but pay attention and stay focused, because a radical shift like this could mean even more harm, because then we'll have people in place doing things who know how to run things into the ground.
Well, right. And one of Elon's anger tweets was that he should be impeached and we should have J.D. Vance in.
Right.
So
that wasn't an accident,
That was not an accident.
Please understand that. That was not an accident. So just do some homework this weekend and Google those names and see what you come up with. Let's take a quick break, Henry. The number is 773-763-9278. This is Choose Views on the Credo mobile phone and text line, and we'll be right back.
Well, June is Pride Month, and all of us who believe in freedom and equality are speaking out for LGBTQ plus rights. But did you know there's a way to raise your voice for equality every month? In fact, every day. It's your phone if you use Credo Mobile. Credo Mobile has donated over $15 million to nonprofits working for equal rights, groups like National LGBTQ Task Force, Transgender Law Center, and the ACLU. And they'll continue to do so because they don't abandon their values when the political wind shifts. They stand for LGBTQ plus people during Pride Month and every month. If you're ready to switch, it's so easy to do. Here's how you make a difference. Go to credomobile.com. WCPT listeners can get 25% off your service for 2 years if you use the code WCPT25. Learn more at credomobile.com. That's credomobile.com. The best way to give back is to go to credomobile.com. That's credomobile.com. Don't forget, type in your code WCPT25.
Think Theory Radio.
Theoretical astrophysicist Dan Hooper.
If there's someplace a light year away from now, there's nothing I can do now that can influence that place in less than a year. No matter what I do, no matter how I build my quantum machine, or no matter what I entangle or what I quantum teleport, nothing I can do here can affect that until a full year has passed, allowing light to get there at the speed of light.
Think Theory Radio with Damian Perdue. Saturdays at 6 p.m. on WCPT 820. You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Welcome back to Choose Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey, Progressives, welcome back to Choose Views, 773-763-9278. Here in studio with us this morning are Natalie Ziemba, City Councilwoman from Woodstock, Illinois, and Karen Byrne from TruBlu Politics podcast. And we're talking a little bit about the carnage / chaos / craziness of Trump and Musk and how and what we have to pay attention to. So you guys have your homework assignment. Anywhere that you are in the country, make sure you are checking out who these guys are, because there could be some interesting revelations that I don't want anybody to be shocked by. And if suddenly there is a hard turn left by Elon Musk to say, I'm going to dump a bunch of information that I have on not only Donald Trump, but a bunch of other politicians. So just prepare yourselves, but stay focused. It is Pride Month, and Natalie is a true testament to that with her Pride T-shirt on. And we don't know when he's going to be dead, whoever that he is.
That's
give,
a reference to
give props to Karen's T-shirt. But one of the things that we've talked about for a long time and have been mindful of, and certainly impacts our day-to-day lives and impacts our elections most certainly, is our Postal Service. And Karen had reached out to us earlier this week about an event that's going on, and one of the things that we're trying to do is to galvanize a little bit more attention to an upcoming event. And we have a gentleman that's called in this morning that's going to chat with us a little bit about some things that are happening with the Forest Park Postal location. Welcome to our show, Walter. What's Walter's last name?
Walter Mitchell.
Walter Mitchell, good friend of Karen's and colleague that decided to give us a call this morning so we can chat about an issue that's important, not just here in the Chicago metropolitan area and the suburbs, but all across the country, and that's our U.S. Postal Service. Welcome to the show, Walter.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Hello, Karen, Mr. Chu, and Natalie.
Hello. Good morning.
Some of you had to call me Mr. Chu. You were doing fine, Walter. You went there. But Walter, welcome to the show. When Karen called in the other day, she was talking about what's happening with this Forest Park Postal location. So maybe you can kind of bring us up to speed a little bit more in terms of what's happening and what some of your concerns and observations are.
Okay. Well, it's the new Chicago RPDC. They closed down a facility in Elk Grove, the busing facility in Elk Grove, the one that was on 2591 Busing Road, and consolidated it with what used to be the Chicago NBC Network Distribution Center on 7500 Roosevelt Road, as part of, again, the George Living for America plan. And in so doing, that the Living for America plan, of course, opened the door to more privatization and selling off of services. So at this facility, we actually have a contractor, one of the companies that they sold off to, on site with us in violation of the contract, and actually performing bargaining unit work and working side by side in a lot of cases with bargaining unit employees, non-union, and are not required to enter the facility the same way. We are not required to basically conduct themselves the same way. There's no records being kept of them coming in and out of the facility. Like, we have to swipe in and out so they know every time we're coming in and we're leaving out. They have there's no restrictions on, or, it's all unilateral how they're allowed to continue to come in and out of the facility. But that's the one thing that made me start the rally against, saying no to USPS privatization. The other part is that it's taking away bargaining unit work. Now, they talk a lot about that Mars machine, and management's focus is on pumping out packages. It's not on service per se. It's just more about pumping out packages so they can show numbers of this is what we're doing and this is how many packages you process an hour. They don't tell how many packages they damage an hour versus when our clerks was performing, when we had more clerks on the machines and they were separating the packages. So it's already taken away a lot of clerk jobs at the NBC, and it's threatening to take away some motor vehicle positions now. But it's across the country. And with this privatization, this particular company that's on site with us in Forest Park, very little to no accountability. Again, we're in the same place. Now, this company was hired to broker services, transportation services, and there, again, no accountability. We have people coming in the facility, like I said, 3 or 4 times a week with no actual, when I say actual, no hard copy of their driver's license. Now, Illinois law says, it respects the law of your state. So if your state says you can have a digital copy of your license, of course, that's accepted in Illinois. Now, this is the transportation department at the it's called Chicago RTC now, that you would think would follow the law of the state of Illinois and not allow people into the facility without a driver's license, or have people leaving the facility without a driver's license hauling mail. And this happened during the election season, too. Like I said, we have it at least 3 or 4 times a week, people coming in. I lost my license because, as part of my job, I asked them for their license as they come into the facility. And they'll say, well, I don't have my license, I lost my license. Then they'll show me a picture on their phone, on their cell phone, where they took a picture of their license, not a authorized or state regulated or state authorized digital copy, but a copy they laid their license on the table and took a picture of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can't legally drive in Illinois like that, let alone talking about hauled mail. But the fact that you have management at this facility allowing them to take into the facility without a driver's license.
So, Walter, let me ask you this. I didn't want to interrupt you because there's such a lot of content there. But okay. I'm picturing this situation, and I'm picturing you having to navigate the people showing up and giving you less than what they should be giving you to enter the building. So there's always, this is one of those moments where, I ask the question, who's ultimately in charge? Like, I as a citizen would ask this question. So isn't there a man or woman who you guys can run this up the chain and say, listen, we have a problem here because it's a security issue. It's first and foremost, it's an access issue. It's a security issue. Mm-hmm. And that person who is the big name, the big manager, the big supervisor at that location would be able to say, no, this is unacceptable. It's not allowed. And until somebody above their head said, oh, yeah, it's fine, that should, to me, seem like the thing that would be one of the steps that you can take. What's preventing you from being able to do that? And if you have done it, what's this person's explanation, I guess?
So that would be my immediate supervisor would be the first one. The transportation manager would be the second. The plant manager would be the third. And the transportation manager's boss, the district director, would be also that's outside of the facility. And also, I've sent all these people I've sent emails to, and I've informed personally, except the plant manager, that I sent emails to. I've informed the transportation manager, I've informed the supervisors, and they were saying as long as they have a driver's license, a picture that they have a driver's license, they'll let them go out. And I informed them that's not the law in Illinois, and this is the Transportation Department of the USPS government, and everybody should be following the law.
Right.
Right. So I've actually had the time manager just said, forget it. Anybody that bring mail is allowed into the facility, whether they have a driver's license or not. They not refuse the mail. Now, that's not the point of refusing the mail, because you can simply stop them at the gate, have them drop there, and not go any further, and have a spotter hook up to the trailer and bring the mail in. So that's not the point. The point is that they are allowing this. Transportation manager, plant management, and like I said, a Western Shore, I think, division director, and the vice president, all the way up to the vice president of logistics in Washington, D.C., which is Robert Centron, and the district director is Marvin Rainwater. And my boss at the facility, his name is Idris Robinson. Plant management name is LaTanya Lewis. And all of them have been informed. I actually had to file a 1767 on LaTanya for that reason, saying that all mail come in, it doesn't matter what it is. It's not turning away mail. It's turning away a person that's here illegally in the facility, driving a vehicle illegally, coming into the facility. So that's...
Okay, I got it. I understand it. You probably have made the effort to get that up the chain of command. Okay, talk a little bit about the protest. Talk a little bit about the sort of the way in which the voices are going to be speaking to this concern, because that's ultimately what I want to just have a moment, because we've got to come to a break in a second, to let folks know how they can show up, where they can show up, because I know that. If I were there, I would be yelling loudly like you are as well. But just let folks know how they can show up and where they can show up, and then we'll hit this quick break. But thank you for being with us this morning, Walter. How can folks show up? Where should they show up?
Okay, we're at 7500 7500 Roosevelt Road in Forest Park, Illinois, in front of on the sidewalk in front of the Taco Bell. They're free to bring their own signs. The rally is stop. Say no to USPS privatization. And because and they can just come show their support. Just come stand with us, march with us Saturday morning between 10 a.m. tomorrow morning between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.
Fantastic. Well, listen, this is what we're going to do. We'll find some time in the next couple of weeks to have you back on to talk about the results of the rally, and then we'll talk maybe a little bit about a larger national issue that this is as it relates to how our postal services are being so poorly managed by people who should be doing a better job.
Undermined.
And that's the point.
They're being undermined.
That's what they want to do.
Real.
Yeah, they want to tear down the systems, break them down, try to quote-unquote
to justify privatization.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
That's what that is.
Walter, thank you for being with us. We will have you back on and talk a little bit more about this. You'll kind of be our dude on the street, literally, when it comes to this conversation. And glad to have you back when we can get you scheduled again. Does that sound good?
That sounds great. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great
Thank you
weekend.
so much.
Appreciate
Bye,
you.
Walter.
You too.
Bye, Walter. Have a good
Bye,
weekend.
Karen.
Bye-bye.
All right, Henry, let's go to a quick break. 773-763-9278. This is Choose Views on the Credo mobile phone and text line, and we'll be right back. Hey, progressives, this is Richard Chew, host of Choose Views here on WCPT AM 820, 6 to 8 a.m. Monday through Friday. We have some real challenges in front of us as a country. Since the beginning of this show, I have always felt compelled to bring you the best that I've got. Now, there's always a why to doing whatever we do. So, as we go forward and face these challenges, know this: you listeners are my why. Because I want to make sure I do everything I can to provide a safe, open, forward-moving space that allows you to call, email, text, or just listen to a guy that wants to help you bring out your own championship qualities to truly make this place better for us all. Lofty goal, idealistic, maybe so. But that's my why, and I look forward to bringing you the best that I've got. This is Richard Chew. Stay tuned.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. A few spotty areas of haze early today, otherwise partial sunshine develops, a high in the mid-70s. Winds out of the northeast around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then for tonight, partly cloudy skies develop, a low near 57. By Saturday, a chance for showers and thunderstorms here late. Partial sunshine develops, high of 78 degrees. And on Sunday, chance for showers and storms, a high of 78. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently, it's 63.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
It's Choose Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey, progressives, welcome back to the show. 773-763-9278. It was great to have Walter on, and we'll have him back to talk more in depth about, at the end of the day, a conversation around privatization, as he said. We have a quick clip we're going to go to when we come back. Natalie and Karen and I are going to talk about this issue as it impacts us on a more broad basis with regard to privatization. So let's go to the Representative Laurel.
Mr. Vogt, be honest. This is never about government efficiency. In fact, an efficient government, a government that capably serves the American people and proves good government is achievable, is what you fear the most. You want a government so broken, so dysfunctional, so starved of resources, so full of incompetent political lackeys and bereft of experts and professionals that its departments and agencies cannot feasibly achieve the goals and the missions to which they are lawfully directed. Your goal is privatization for the biggest companies to have unchecked power, for an economy that does not work for the middle class, for working and vulnerable families. You want the American people to have no one to turn to but to the billionaires and the corporation this administration has put in charge. Waste, fraud, and abuse are not the targets of this administration. They are your primary objectives.
And so in the bigger conversation here, so we were talking about Donnie and Lonsky having their little breakup. But at the end of the day, it is, okay. He was brought in to do a certain thing. Mm-hmm. It's been from day two clear that that's not what they were doing.
No.
And so now they're about to have a breakup, and who knows where that's going to be and what the fallout's going to be from it. But ultimately, to what you guys missed during the break, that's where all the good good stuff is, the cuss words. Natalie said it best, and Karen followed up with the next part of the baton. It is about the same thing that Representative Deloria said. It's about tearing down systems across the board to privatize them so that money doesn't come to your pocket, America, and improve your lifestyle, America. It's to enhance and improve the lives of folks who don't even need any of those dollars, and those are the owners of those private entities. Ladies, take it away.
Yeah, follow the money. I will say this: Jim Hightower, right, of the Hightower Lowdown. What an amazing progressive voice. I've been listening for years. I've been following Jim for years. He has been talking about the slow dismantling bit by bit of the Postal Service. And this really hits home for me. My grandfather retired from the United States Post Office, right? He was a postman, and I take a lot of pride in that. And this has been a destruction. We will make it so that the public sees something that seems so inefficient. Everybody loves to complain, I stand in line for such a long time, or the price of stamps is going up. You don't understand how essential a service this is, right? And just think of the sensitive pieces of information that are circulating. Millions of pieces of mail circulate through this system every single day. And then magically, packages and envelopes just show up, right? Because there is a system that has been set up of efficiency. This is government at its best.
Yeah.
But
when it's allowed to be.
When it's allowed to be. So let's start taking things like some of the leadership there, and I'm talking about like the people inside the post office, right? The management. Let's start cutting shifts. Let's start laying people off. Let's start getting rid of some of the essential staff, essential workers, because then things start slowing down and it looks inefficient, and the public thinks, oh boy, yeah, inefficient. Maybe if it's privatized, things will get better. Make no mistake, this was the plan from the beginning. Let's make it so that the public sees something that's inefficient, or the price of a stamp goes up, or the price to ship something goes up. The public won't like it. It's going to be a lot easier then for us to sneak in and privatize it. You will never see any of that. If that, and by any of that, I mean any savings or money. You know who's going to benefit? Some rich billionaire is going to get that government contract, just like they have with privatization of prisons, privatization and all of these government contracts with things like data, weaponization, the military contracts, right? Weapons contracts, billionaires benefit.
I mean, it's listen, and Karen, I'm going to let you jump in before I jump in. You had something you wanted to say.
Well, yeah, it speaks to the whole MO of the Republican Party forever. You break big government, right? That's been their thing all along. Big government. We need smaller government. They go in, they undermine everything, including the U.S. Postal Service. The U.S. Postal Service was one of the first agencies, if not the first agency, set up in this country. Well, and, it is in the Constitution. The only people that benefit, to Natalie's point, are the billionaires that are going to be able to step in and take it over and run it privately. And in addition, FedEx and UPS.
Right. They're going to be so check this out, guys. And this is why what Karen just said about for a long time. I remember during Bush II's terms, one of the things he wanted to privatize, and that's Social Security. They're still coming after Social Security. Wanted to privatize it. Can you imagine if they had privatized, the Republicans had privatized Social Security right before the crash in 2008? Okay, do y'all understand that? Right. So privatization sounds sexy because it sounds like, we're going to have these great businessmen running everything, and they're going to. How many times have you dealt with the business, America, and the way that business operated was jacked up?
Right.
And you were like, why? How does this business function? But you
look at the CEO of America right now. Exactly. Okay, that guy's a failure.
He's a classic example. But I'm going to bring this down to a really basic level as to why, in my observation, a big part of our government's employing of people is of a certain demographic. Where am I going with this?
Go there.
Oh, go
All
there.
right.
Yep, love it.
So you have to ask the question, why would a person that's got their head screwed on straight in this country go, yeah, let's privatize the post office. Yeah, let's privatize Social Security, education, and the list goes on. In terms of who the federal employees are, not in Washington. Y'all have to understand, I've said this so many times, the largest percentage of federal employees that work for different departments don't just work in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
They work in the top 10 most densely populated communities in America. And ironically, the people that populate those most densely populated areas of America that happen to be federal employees got chocolate skin like me.
They look like Richard.
Mm-hmm.
And in many cases, they don't have they are women.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they are not just women of color. They are white women. They are Hispanic women. They are Latino women. And the list goes on. So let's scrape off some of the layers of paint and the varnishing that they've been selling to MAGA and the GOP and understand that part of the reason that they want to get rid of the people that work for, they want to get rid of the agencies, break them down, cripple them, is because along with that comes the crippling of certain communities.
Yep.
Amen.
And that is why when I say, and people challenge me on this, and I say, bring it on, racism, sexism, Christian nationalism, and privilege are the four legs of the stool of why we are in this chaos and hell.
Yeah.
You decided, America, 78 million of y'all said, I'm going to vote for the dude that has been convicted of sexual assault, 34 times convicted for financial fraud, owes $400+ million to the state of New York in terms of fines and penalties, got caught on tape trying to steal votes in Georgia. And the list goes on. Stole documents. He didn't borrow them.
Financially bankrupt.
Morally
bankrupt.
And y'all decided that you wanted that. And I don't care. It could have been Henry that was running for the Democratic ticket. I would have picked Henry over Donald Trump. Because Henry would have enough sense to say, let me surround myself with people that know a lot more than I do. I don't know a damn thing about this, but I'm a good dude. I'm an honest dude.
He's not a sociopath.
And I'm not a sociopath. But I'm going to surround myself with these people because they're going to help us make our country better.
Right.
Y'all chose that.
He's a convicted felon, so don't talk about, rule of law and order, and all that other nonsense.
And so this is at the core of them tearing down these agencies.
Yeah.
It's that right there, people. Now, let's come back to something that both Karen and Natalie said, and that is who's going to benefit from this. Karen, who's really going to benefit from tearing down these agencies?
Their competitors, and then, to Natalie's point, the billionaires and the millionaires, and that's it. We lose.
Yes, we do.
We lose services. Natalie was talking about this during the break, and we're going to take one in a second. The rural communities.
Absolutely.
I mean, and let's be honest. The rural communities are populated with all sorts of Americans, not just rural white folks. There's rural folks that live in parts of this country that are as brown-skinned as I am and as long-haired as Henry is, that are of different communities. So it's not just rural white folks that are going to be impacted by this. It's rural people, period.
Right.
The Postal Service goes away or is tampered with. Now, they got to drive X amount of distance to get their mail sent off, or if it gets private.
Because, UPS doesn't want to drive out there.
No.
FedEx can say, we're not going out in that area. We're
but
not going to
guess
serve
who
that
can't
area.
say no?
I know.
The United States Postal Service.
We're on our way.
We'll be there.
Rain, sleet, or shine.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm begging folks to please stop beating up on Democrats. Yes, we need to push our leaders, our elected officials, to do the best job that they can. We have to do that. That's our requirement. But stop beating up on them.
Thank you.
Because they're not taking stuff away that's harming people.
Nope.
There's not one Democratic elected official that I know of on any level, and Natalie can speak to this as a city councilwoman, that's trying to take away services that are needed for folks' everyday lives. Karen, you had something to say.
Yeah, and by the way, Democrats read the bills.
Yep.
Did you hear when I had Sean Harris on yesterday, and he was talking about the fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene hadn't even read the bill?
They hadn't even read the bill.
I mean, you know it now. It's made it all over social and not really mainstream media, but social media has been dragging her.
Yes.
She hasn't read the bill.
And they don't read the bill. They don't care. All they do is, they're brain dead. They just want to hurt people. And, whatever it is you want me to sign, Donald Trump, I'm going to go ahead and sign it. Meanwhile, you have qualified elected officials in the Democratic Party that read the bills. They are thoughtful.
That's why they're bringing up the craziness.
They are in it for public service, to serve the public, to serve their constituents. They actually care about their constituents.
That's right.
These sociopaths do not care. I mean, listen to Joni Ernst. Mm-hmm. I got news for you. Everybody's going to die, and the tooth fairy isn't real. What the hell? The heck?
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
We're going to take a quick break, guys.
We're getting fired up over here. Fired up Friday.
763-9278. This is Choose Views and something else. We'll be right back.
This is Tony Moret. I'm an estate planning lawyer who drafts living trusts and wills. Since the election, I've been hearing from my clients, many of them fellow WCPT listeners. And we all wonder, how did this happen and what can we do? The how is, of course, very complicated. My thoughts as regard to what we can do is simple but important. We need to take extra care of those we love. Having an estate plan using either a living trust or will can provide comfort in uncertain times like these. When the progressive values we hold dear are under attack, I feel we must make sure that our personal lives are secure and then work out from there. I've been drafting estate plans for my clients for over 30 years, and I will use all of that experience to help you. Please call me at 847-996-0496. My website is moreylawoffice.com. That's More spelled M-O-R-E-E. Again, the phone is 847-996-0496. There is no cost or obligation for our initial discussion. I look forward to speaking with you.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
It's Choose View with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Hey guys, welcome back to Choose View, 773-763-9278. We'll take a quick call from Steve from the Gold Coast. Hey Steve, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Yes, I want to make a few points. And one, you're absolutely correct. I mean, for people who don't know it, if you ship something FedEx or UPS and the last league of that route is somewhere out in rural America, you know who ends up delivering it? The U.S. Postal Service. Because UPS isn't going that far. So they simply hand it off to the U.S. Post Office, and, you pay a nominal additional fee. But, yeah, UPS isn't going 15 miles out of its way to drop off one package from some little tchotchke that you bought. So, I mean, that's point one. And point two, I mean, the Republicans have been trying to dismantle the Great Deal and the New Society for generations. They elected Eisenhower, who basically ran on that platform, but then said, no, we're not going to do anything about it. He increased the size of government. Nixon did the same thing. He created the EPA, NOAA, OSHA. I mean, there's a whole long list about how Nixon, as terrible as he was, didn't do anything to reduce the size of government. They felt betrayed. Goldwater ran on it and got trounced at the polls. And the lesson that they learned, even through the Reagan administration, was that, you can run on this stuff, but if you actually try to do these things, you're going to get killed in the next election.
Hey, Steve, it's one thing to run on it, but then to try to govern through it is a whole different world.
Exactly. I mean, there are a small number of people in this country who are millionaires and billionaires, but they can't get you elected. Nope. You need average people to do that. But the people whose programs you are cutting are those people now. So you can live in rural America and be indignant about the state of what's going on in terms of immigration and DEI and all of these other programs. But over here, you're not paying attention to the fact that, hey, your Medicaid is going to get cut. your Social Security benefits are going to get cut. The resources to the VA that you rely on are going to get cut. Now, does that really matter to you or not?
And
because that's what they're doing.
Ultimately, what that leads to, Steve, is then that the communities that people live in that are the recipients of those benefits starts to suffer, because many times those benefits are recirculated into the community and provides a paycheck to people that provide the service, that provide the care in the medical field. That
absolutely, we don't have government doctors that are Medicaid doctors. You simply go to a doctor who takes Medicaid.
Yep, that's it.
And he has a staff, and they have children and other people who rely upon them. So if you're going to cut this, then you're going to see significant drops in terms of employment in your community. You're going to see significant drops in the capacity to buy things. So, I mean, all this has a trickle effect. And so they're going to get hit really hard in the next election, the midterms. And the thing of it is that Donald Trump does – you're absolutely right. Donald Trump doesn't have the intellect or the intellectual curiosity to understand this, nor does he care, because he knows he's done as far as politics are concerned. But other people in the House and in the Senate are saying to themselves, you know what, I'd like to stay in this job and like to stay in this business for a while.
And Steve, and if they want, and thank you for the call, man. Appreciate your contribution, as always, Steve. If they want to stay in that role as an elected official, then they should do the work that they were sent there in the first place for. I mean, how powerful would it be for Republicans in the House right now and Republicans in the Senate on a federal level right now if they said, you know what, we got more power than this dude. Mm-hmm. Constitutionally, we have more power than he does. Let's just go ahead and cut our losses right now, because they're not going to get any more of the monies. Like, here's an example, and this is going to get us in the weed late in the show. The money that would potentially be saved by cutting these different departments is not going to suddenly provide a raise to the congressional leaders that are elected. They're not going to suddenly get a $100,000 annual increase in their salary, not in all the other benefits that they get. So they're not going to get that benefit any more than the four of us are going to get any of the cut benefit if it actually existed.
Right.
So this is where, coming back a little bit to what Steve was saying, where they have the opportunity to wield some major power,
right,
and say, you know what, we need to get rid of this dude. We got to be done with him. They got the numbers. They literally right now.
They sure do.
They have the numbers, and the danger, though, and this is what a lot of people speculated as to why J.D. Vance was the pick, is to what you both said earlier about the Peter Thiels of the world and these technocrats that want to, take over. That's the downside. But even in that regard, if the Republicans had any sense of maintaining their role as effective elected officials, they should just get together and say, you know what, we're going to call for articles of impeachment and get it done and remove his behind now. They have the numbers in the House, because we know the Democrats would be like, yep, done. And the Senate would be right there. It's doable.
Yeah, of course. They can do it today. They can do it today. I keep saying that.
They have the numbers. You know what they don't have?
The spine and the gut.
The courage.
That's right.
Absolutely. They do not have the courage to do it. They've never been the party, the modern Republican Party, the MAGAs, the MAGA Party. They're not, the Republican Party's gone. It's gone. The MAGA Party right now, they do not have any political fortitude or a moral compass to have the courage to do it.
They don't have what Goldwater and the Republicans had when Nixon was in office and was being impeached. They don't have someone that's going to make that move.
Nope.
And it ended, candidly, during the Reagan administration. Republican spine ended during Ronald Reagan's 2 terms. And because look at what happened in terms of wars, in terms of cutting benefits, in terms of this march toward quote-unquote smaller government, which was all BS.
Autocracy.
Go ahead, Karen.
No, and I'm going to just say, because I'm not going to let any of these, Republicans off the hook, okay?
No.
The house the foundation that MAGA's house was built on is the Republican Party.
Yeah, Tea Party.
Right.
In reverse order.
So,
it's MAGA, it's Tea Party,
I will never let them forget that. We can never let them forget that. And but I want to say, because too, you were, they try and spin it so that it's like, and I think Steve mentioned it. You're not going to see a government doctor. And it's the same thing that they did with the ACA. Remember, it was like, the government insurance. It's like, no, it's a portal, you nitwits.
Yeah,
it's literally a portal, and they're using the private insurance companies that you guys love so much, right?
Exactly.
That's just giving them
If you
business.
really wanted to have the perfect insurance plan, then we would change it so that it was a version of what Steve said doesn't exist. And and he makes a good point. Okay, so we got just a couple minutes left. Natalie, what's happening up in Woodstock?
So many amazing things. Isn't it shocking how quickly an hour goes by? Oh my goodness. Okay, so a couple quick things in Woodstock. Obviously, I am on City Council there. And I just want to bring people up to speed. Remember, you can always take the Metro straight out to Woodstock. We are on the UP Northwest line, so that's the same train line that goes through like Palatine, Arlington Heights, Barrington, Cary. Eventually, you'll get to Woodstock. So come and see us on June 8th. Now, National Organization of Women is having a United We Resist rally. It's from 1 to 3. This Sunday, June 8th, on the beautiful Woodstock Square. Then, for Pride, which will be next weekend, Woodstock does it up. Woodstock Pride is in an entire weekend. This year, something very special. We are honored to host something really historic, a portion of the AIDS Memorial Quilt. That will be in McHenry County for the first time ever. So that will be the entire weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, June 13th to the 15th at the Unity Spiritual Center of Woodstock. But the huge thing is, of course, the Pride Parade and the amazing Pride Festival on the Woodstock Square. That is on Sunday, June 15th. The parade's at 11, and then the celebration just goes on until about 5 p.m. all over the square. And it's thousands of people come out. There's music, there's food.
In Woodstock, y'all. In Woodstock. So in a smaller community that's part of our greater metropolitan area and part of our great state.
Yes, it's the 7th year we're doing the Pride Fest in Woodstock. Isn't that amazing? And at Tuesday's Woodstock City Council, we gave a Pride proclamation. So that was amazing. And then Juneteenth, we're hosting Juneteenth. This is, I believe, the third year on the Woodstock Square on June 21st is a wonderful Juneteenth festival.
Fantastic. Awesome. Y'all need to get with Natalie Ziemba. She is a city councilwoman in Woodstock. She's doing great work.
Firecracker.
And yeah, she has a sledgehammer in the back of her car, and she will wield it. I've given her the permission. I say that respectfully to use it, and that's what we all should be doing. And our good friend Karen Byrne, your TruBlu Politics podcast has really been a great one. You had a great post on Substack this week. Check out her Substack. She just posted an article called Big Brother, This Is Not Normal. Y'all need to check that out. Get with these ladies. They do great work. They are social and political activists, as well as just good people that are out here doing the work to make things better for our lives.
Join us at 7500 Roosevelt Road in Forest Park, 10 to 12 tomorrow with Walter and his people.
Fight for the United States Postal Service.
Yes.
Guys, we got to wrap it up. It's the end of the show. Great week. Thanks to everybody that was on our show. Thanks to all the people who called in. And most importantly, thanks to you guys. We appreciate you. Take a deep breath. Make your life count. We'll see you next week.
This is a WCPT Veteran Minute. In the midst of World War II, a group of Native American soldiers known as the Code Talkers became silent heroes. The U.S. military faced challenge of secure communications on the battlefield, and these men, primarily from the Navajo tribe, were enlisted to develop an unbreakable code. Using their native language, which had no written alphabet,